is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. Priority agenda. Prime Minister Davis highlighting the focus for the national progress of the country, taking some swipes at the F&M, as he gives an update on the National Development Plan. Pediatric doses of COVID vaccine expected before the end of the month, and the health minister warning that we could see an uptick in COVID cases. Plus, our interview live with F&M Chairman Dr. Dwight Sands. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of the new.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Wednesday, July 13th, 2022. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Chester Robards will be joining us as well. Also this morning in Morning Blend Business, our twice-monthly segment with A Squared SBDC. We'll get an update on the work of the Access Accelerator. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, in a speech that was punctuated with politically polarizing language, Prime Minister Philip Davis taking swipes at former F&M administrations, outlining priority areas for national development, recommitting to transparency and accountability, and calling on all Bahamians to pull together for the betterment of everyone. However, while he was largely complimentary of the efforts during the Pinling years, Davis did say that there were forces at play that undermined progress. Looking ahead, he said, quote, "By working in partnership, we can spend the next 50 years building the kind of Bahamas that each of us knows in our hearts is better." Prime said it was not his goal to provide enlightenment without provocation, which is why he decided against the approach of merely reflecting the findings of the National Development Plan, drafted under the last Christie administration, and setting out some of the priorities of his administration and completing and implementing them. He said, quote, "The provocation, or rather the things upon which we might not all agree, will hopefully prove more fertile for discussion and debate." Prime Minister spent some time last night outlining his administration's values, among them economic justice and economic dignity. He said the preceding administration embraced the values. He lied it to some extent, but he said, quote, "Post-independence, they certainly all did to some degree, although the most recent administration hopefully represented the lowest point of the commitment. But where I do draw a distinction is in the formal incorporation of these values into policy. We can and will test what we do against these values. We will do all that we can to succeed, and if we do, it is the Bahamian people who will benefit." While a great deal of his lecture was spent in providing the context of the national development, the Prime Minister highlighted the importance of a national development plan. He said, without a national development plan, the government of the day has to make decisions and choices, most of which are based on short-term needs. He said, given the 5-year electoral cycle, it's easy to spend money on visible outcomes which might be sufficiently impressive to inspire a few votes. But he said the money might be better spent on much less visible outcomes like improving coastal defenses, which could prevent long-term coastal erosion. In other news, the Ministry of Health and Wellness confirming an imported case of malaria in New Providence. The ministry says the infected person is a Bahamian man in his mid-30s who recently traveled to West Africa. We're told he's receiving treatment at a private facility and is expected to make a full recovery. Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville says the government expects pediatric COVID doses to arrive in the Bahamas by the end of the month. He says they've been working hard on this and they've finalized all the challenges in getting the vaccine in the country. Darville says roughly 24,000 pediatric doses of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccines were expected. When asked if the government expected any doses for children as young as 6 months, he says they're just looking at the juvenile vaccines. They're looking at juvenile vaccines as well. He said, quote, "It's important for us to follow what is going on in the world and to implement the same protocols in the country." He says they've already started the process to see if they can get the juvenile vaccines in the country as well. Meanwhile, former Health Minister and current F&M Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands accusing the Davis administration of a, quote, "damn the torpedoes" approach to regulations and restrictions around COVID-19. The former minister careful to assert that the country must open up, but still he blasted the government for not addressing COVID regulations intentionally. The accusation coming days after the administration announced the cancellation of the controversial travel health visa and canceled requirements for a COVID rapid antigen test on the 5th day of travel, regardless of vaccination status. Overseas, Sri Lanka's president fleeing the country early today, slipping away only hours before he promised to resign under pressure from protesters angry over a devastating economic crisis. Crowds quickly trained their ire on the prime minister, storming his office and demanding that he go as well. The president and his wife left aboard a Sri Lankan Air Force plane bound for the Maldives. That brought little relief to the island nation, gripped for months by an economic disaster that has triggered severe shortages of food and fuel, and now is beset by political chaos. Thousands of protesters demanding the prime minister step down rallied outside his office compound, and some scaled the walls as the crowd roared its support and tossed water bottles to those charging in. Some could later be seen inside the building and standing on a rooftop terrace waving Sri Lanka's flag, in a move only likely to further enrage protesters. The president appointed his prime minister as acting president while he was out of the country. That's according to a parliament speaker. The president is yet to resign, but the speaker says the president assured him that he would later today. In sports, after waiting for 2 years, the Bahamas Flag Football League returned to action and able to complete a full season, 2 champions crowned, with the Caro Contractors TTF Outlet Avengers winning the men's division and the Paradise Games Wildcats claiming the title in the women's division. Playing on Independence Day, the Avengers found the right formula after going to 6 finals in 8 years and coming up short. Their defense showed up and they took down the EDLC Lions 20-3. You can read more about how the teams did in today's Guardian Sports section. And from the Swimming Nationals, a competitive 4 days of swimming at Bahamas Aquatics Federation's 50th National Swimming Championships. The tight competition leading to some records being lowered and records broken and times lowered. LeVar Taylor led the way with 2 national records. The meet began on Thursday, wrapped up Independence Day. on Sunday. Taylor, who swims for the Mako Aquatics Club, was able to break the national record in the 18 and over men's 50 meters backstroke. Then he lowered his own national record in the 100-meter freestyle. In the 50-meter backstroke, it was a tight race between Taylor and the previous owner of the record, his teammate Devontae Carey. The two pushed each other as they both dipped under the previous national record time of 26.10 seconds. In the end, it was Taylor who touched the wall first for the new national record and personal best time of 25.93, Carey finishing with the personal best 25.99 for second place. Read more about it in today's Guardian Sports section. And overseas, 6 people treated for injuries, but initial reports say there were no gorings in the 7th running of the Bulls at Spain's San Fermin Festival today. There were so many scary moments, though, in the 2-minute dash through the cobblestone streets of Pamplona. Shortly into the race, one bull twice headbutted a runner before tossing him to the ground, where he was trampled by other bulls and frantic runners as well. In the bull ring at the end of the run, another runner who had fallen and tried to get to his feet was surprised by a charging bull who butted him into the air. 4 people in all have been gored, but none seriously, during the festival's 7 runs so far this year. The festival ends on Thursday. Tens of thousands of visitors attended the Pamplona Festival, which was immortalized in Ernest Hemingway's 1926 novel, The Sun Also Rises. The festival is also popular for its 24-hour partying, street events, and the city's food. 8 people were gored in 2019, the last festival before a 2-year hiatus because of the COVID pandemic. 16 people have died since 1910, the last death in 2009. That's sports. And that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your first look at weather for today, we've got Atlantic high-pressure ridging continuing to generate moderate to locally fresh winds across the islands. There is a risk of waterspout activity, though. Beachgoers in the central and southeast Bahamas should exercise caution for rip currents along east and south coast beaches. And everybody's being advised to remain hydrated and limit outdoor activities and wear sun protective gear during extensive sun exposure during soaring triple-digit heat indices again today. For all areas today, we're looking at variable cloudiness, hot and humid conditions with isolated showers and the chance of a few afternoon thunderstorms, breezy and hazy in the central and southeast Bahamas. For boaters, a small craft caution is in effect in the central and southeastern islands. Wind southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots in the northwest Bahamas, east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots elsewhere. Seas 2 to 4 feet in the northwest Bahamas, but 4 to 7 feet elsewhere. It's already about 81 degrees right now in Nassau. We're looking at highs getting up to around 92 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius. The heat index will make it feel like 102 Fahrenheit, 39 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and look at the tropics coming up after traffic in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day.
You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
You know that it's the start of the end of the old way.
When faced with an illness like cancer, we band together, and we at Cleveland Clinic in Florida have your back. From advanced cancer treatments to extra safety measures at all of our locations, we're with you on this journey. For every infusion and follow-up, for every step of the way, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic in Florida. Get the care you need when and where you need it. To learn more or connect with a local representative, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796 standard text rate supply. Once again, I am Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Chester Robards will be joining us. We'll give you the phone numbers to call in just a bit. Coming up this morning, we've got more weather and traffic. And in just a bit, we'll be talking with F&M Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands. We've got a lot to talk to him about this morning, about national issues and what's happening within his party. That's coming up. And later in Morning Blend Business, we are talking with A2 SBDC, Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center, our twice-monthly segment with them. They're going to give us an update on some of the new and exciting programs they have. That's coming up. So a lot to get to on this Wednesday morning. Let's begin now, though, with what's in the news. And in the news, National Development Plan, the Prime Minister Philip Davis, outlining the priorities, what they're hoping to do, what they're hoping to see over the next few years. Chester Robards joining us now. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Quite a lengthy address last night, a speech at UB, University of the Bahamas. And we're going to play a piece of it for you where you outline some of the priority goals there and get your reaction to it. Highlighting the focus for national progress, but taking some swipes of the F&M too. We'll get to that a little bit later. But take a listen to this portion where he talks about, was it 10? Anyway, it was a number of items that they want to prioritize over the next few years.
In our swearing-in speeches and a speech from the throne, we detail our broad legislative program. In my remarks to the United Nations and at COP26 in Glasgow, I position our foreign policy in terms of climate change and challenge the international community to deliver on the promises they have made. And so, our priorities are interdependent and not mutually exclusive. And so, firstly, education. I spoke earlier about the deprivation of education as an instrument of oppression. But a more positive way to say that is that education is the path to empowerment and prosperity. This has been true of my own personal journey and that of countless others. What is distinctive about our approach? What is distinctive about our approach? Well, we will educate not just for the broad curriculum, but also to ensure that Bahamians can take advantage of the opportunities we are seeking to stimulate in the orange, green, and blue economies. So for example, our support for the LJM Maritime Academy reflects this, along with the launch of a new school for the creative and performing arts. That said, we also recognize that our cultural norms do not currently support and promote the value of education as they once did. This has given rise to comments such as, book learning isn't everything. And while I agree that the traditional university-based education is not the right path for everyone, a confident grounding in literacy, numeracy, and all other skills which enable someone to function well in one society, these skills remain essential. The grammar of WhatsApp messages and the attitude of the TikTok videos are not reliable foundations for success. And education isn't something that should just happen to young people in schools. It should be a cradle-to-grave experience, an exercise for what I call lifelong learning. In the short term, we must address the learning loss of the past few years, occasioned by the pandemic. But as we move towards the medium and long term, we will push to improve the standing of training, learning, and education in our communities. We also need to improve our educational attainment levels. Over the years, a system has evolved whereby those people of means pay for their children's education, either here or abroad. I am deeply concerned that those who cannot afford to pay too often do not receive the kind of education that can help them fulfill their potential and purpose. Our second priority is in health and wellness. Access to good, affordable, reliable health care sits within our ideas about economic justice and dignity. Plans are well advanced to build new clinics and hospitals, but we have a bigger ambition: the recruitment of more doctors and nurses and staff who can give patients the care they need. Strengthening national health insurance to ensure that Bahamians can access that care, and support for wellness initiatives that should help to prevent people needing to seek medical attention in the first place. As we transition to achieve these goals, we have put in what I call a stopgap measure, reserving $10 million in this year's budget to cover the cost of catastrophic health care for those who can't afford. The economy is our third priority. It is not to say that it's the third most important thing for us. In fact, most national development plans build out from economic policy. But I use the order to underscore the point that for my administration, we are mindful to put the individual needs of education, health, and wellness on par with the need to have a successful economy. We believe that fiscal soundness derives from strong economic growth. And by the way, our efforts to diversify the economy do not mean that we are playing down tourism in any way. It remains our most valuable sector, and we think that the potential for growth and value for tourism is still very significant. I've already spoken as to how the principles of economic justice and dignity inform our approach to the National Development Plan. Matters connected to the environment are our fourth priority. By this I mean both the natural and built environment. Perhaps a better way to describe it would be the way we plan to look after our home, whether it's God-given or we have made it ourselves. You have already heard the attention and focus we are giving to the impact of climate change on the Bahamas. You will continue to hear more. Looking ahead, we may have to engage with some very challenging natural events and conditions. Without wishing to veer into something too bleak for this occasion, please understand that when we say that the impact of climate change poses an existential threat to our country, we mean just that. It threatens our very existence, and we can and will and must do something about it. The fifth priority is what we can broadly call cultural and social. I'm not talking about formal culture in the sense of the arts, but culture as in the way we do things here. I'm not alone in thinking that we can do more to build stronger communities and a stronger nation. The conversations and images on social media too often represents us as a violent, conflict-driven people. In our own lives, we know many wonderful Bahamians who do so much to strengthen the ties that bind us. The nurse who stays past her shift to care for a patient who needs her. The teacher who goes the extra mile for a student who is struggling. The grandmother who looks out for the children on her street who might be short on meals or affection. The pastor who knows who in his flock needs extra healing. We shouldn't have a conversation about our national development without acknowledging that the work done by the angels among us should be supported, lifted up, and encouraged. That is the only way to ensure that we will have such angels in every generation. During the celebrations for the 50th anniversary of independence next year, I hope that we can include this as a part of our national conversation. What do we need to do to make sure that we are developing into the kind of people and society that we want to be? This takes me to the final points I wish to make tonight, which relate to governance. We've already considered the limits and possibilities of a national development plan and reviewed the approaches of previous administrations that have resulted in our present context. I've set out the ideological approach of our administration that I mentioned. Did I mention? It's a new day? I've set out the ideological approach through an iteration of the values that guide us. And I've highlighted how our policy prioritizes and is set out in detail in our blueprint for change. And it shows how we will approach the short, medium, and long-term needs of national development. Before I finish, I wish to address some issue of governance which I think will act as a brake on national development unless we resolve them. Principal among these is the issue of trust. We are at a stage in history where there's very little trust between the people and the government. This is true not just of us here in the Bahamas, but we can do something about it here. In our view, the lack of trust has arisen because of the lack of transparency, a lack of accountability, and a lack of delivery. We have already taken steps and will continue to take steps to improve on each one of these. Our weekly press conferences, statements, video newsreels are all produced in an attempt to keep the Bahamian people informed about what we are doing. We have also improved media access to ministers so that ministers can give thoughtful answers to questions. Even though it is still early days, we expect to be held accountable for our decisions and actions. And we hope and expect that everyone in political life shares the same willingness to be held accountable. It is a key component in building trust. In fact, lack of accountability especially undermines trust and confidence in government. When people see politicians transgressing, but with no apparent consequences, it's bad for democracy. We are determined to turn things around. Along with trust and accountability, we believe that when we truly deliver for the Bahamian people, when we make real the promises on which they gave us their vote, then trust truly is rebuilt. We will not succeed at everything we do, and everything we do will not produce the benefits we anticipated. But we will continue to try and are confident that we will have more successes than not. But none of it will work unless we work in partnership with the Bahamian people. Even though the country is crying out for change, it is often the case that people want change, but don't like to be changed. But if we work together, a very section of society is prepared to work together, that common, lofty goal can come well within our reach. But it requires us to do more than just offer knee-jerk reactions to everyday events. Businesses and centers of learning must play their part. Churches and civic organizations can and should actively support national development. And the members of the press who play such a valuable role in communicating information and shaping opinion are encouraged to also reach higher. The draft National Development Plan has been taken off the shelf, and in very short order is intended to have the committee reconvene to see how we could settle and not have a draft, but a final National Development Plan for us all.
Okay, Prime Minister Philip Davis last night speaking about national development and the way forward and the need to have a plan, have a national plan outlining his priorities there. And going back to look at the old draft and update it seems, for the needs for today. All right, let's get your reaction, what you heard in that clip or what else, if you watched it last night, what you saw and heard. Give us a call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-47966. Get your reaction to this. You're getting some strong text messages already about this. And This person says that you and I both know the lecture last night was not a plan. It was a speech, just like any other speech one gives on the campaign trail, with clear party supporters clapping at every inappropriate swipe the PM gave at the opposition during a lecture that should demonstrate togetherness. It was lackluster and did little to communicate a plan beyond what he has already said in the budget communication. Huh. All right. Well, no, it's not the plan. He's saying that we have to come together, right, Chester? We have to come together to work on this. He outlined his priorities. Right. There was a draft already, but that was just basically the framework for the way forward. It wasn't the completed thing. People still have to say what they want to see in the Bahamas and what the way forward is. Now, the other parts you made, yeah, maybe it wasn't appropriate at all. But I don't think we are, or at least politicians don't seem to be able to separate the politics from anything they do. They have to always get in a little jab here or there, or a big one. It's just you got to show that you're different. But perhaps that might be necessary here, where we saw that, immediately the Minutes administration just completely never mentioned those words. And he wasn't even there when the draft was presented. Also, I believe at UB, right, so many years ago, wasn't a part of it. Other members of the party were, but he wasn't. So, who knows, had there been commitment all around on this, where we would be right now, well, on the way to seeing a clearer vision for the country in 40 years. I think it was Vision 2040. That was what it was called then, right? Yeah. Okay. So I hear you, and we hopefully that'll be part of the way forward, where we can keep politics out of these nationalistic discussions. But good luck. Don't hold your breath. I suspect. Well, at least not for the next few years.
That's right.
Got to give it some time. Let's see what you're saying. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. Good morning to all.
Hi, good morning.
It amazed me how the educated among us, right, the students of all the various science, right, tends to want to govern us and then tell untruths about our economics, because that's all that really matters is the money. You see, we and especially those who are educated in London and call themselves progressives. You see, and it amazed me. They are so conservative. We for one, we have an economy that's void of income tax, and you know what I'm saying, that's void of public housing. And the like. You see, and our healthcare is deplorable. Our Prime Minister, he speaks about we have a plan for creating clinics, and we have these plans on the way for hospitals, building hospitals which are private or private. We talked the other day about private hospitals and not public ones. And then he goes on to talk about education and book learning. Come on now, but the poor people, when they can't afford to do for themselves, it says, well, they don't want to give them the legislation for livable wage, and says that they should have educated themselves, and they blame it on their parents. So how is you going to develop the same blue and green and orange education this man talk about, and not going to have the same issues of the folks, and are not able to afford themselves, given this public education and not doing well in it? You see. It's
He did talk about that. He did say that, there's got to be something that has to be done about that. The fact that in order to get the quality education, you have to pay for it around here, it seems. And that is not fair, of course.
But it's not fair, but then he's not, we have public schools they're not paying for, but then it's not any good. We have a public hospital it's not paying for, it's got its garbage, and, it amazes me. What they do is they preach this conservatism, right? They never teach us about the Chilean government of 1973. That's the year we got our independence. We had a Chilean government that did the public thing, where the government took over and had national corporations, national companies. But yet but they were forced They were done in by the people like the CIA. You understand me? Because the people with private interest, it does not. It's no. You know what I'm saying? It's not
Well,
appearances.
there are pros and cons to both systems, and I'm not. A lot of people would definitely not want what you're suggesting. Absolutely not. But yeah, capitalism has drawbacks as well. But yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi. Good morning. Are you there? Well, let's take this one. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning to you, Dwight.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Doing well.
Yes. A couple of points, Dwight. Let me first say the delivery last night reminded me of when I was 12 years old and my sister walking on me. I was able to start but not finish.
Well, boy. Okay. Well, you got some
I say anything,
youngster.
I like the way you think. Dwight, it's important for us to have a national development plan conversation. And if you go back to a conversation that you and I had on the same station when I was chairman of the United Democratic Party with Mr. Greg Moss, who was also a party sitting in the House of Assembly that was excluded from that national development discussion. And we critiqued that national development plan. And 48 hours later, that plan was withdrawn, which led to version 2. Okay? Now, and because it was some powerful critique of it, and I did not remember, I was calling in to your guest, and I did not get to have a full critique of it, and it hasn't improved since then. But you cannot have a development of a national development plan. Remember when your guest said that they will make all the documentations available, all the previous documentations, all the data available for input. It was never done. But the point of that is that to have a real conversation on a national development plan, the Prime Minister should have came last night with a state of the economy, telling us exactly who we are, where we are, who we owe, how we owe it, and the current listing of the current needs of the country. Because you must first find out what the current need is before you can anticipate the future need based on an ideology that is collectively developed. You need to know the past, the present, to plot the future. And it was very high on education. Okay, well, guess what? Empowerment does not require education. However, education accelerates empowerment. Empowered people demand better education, but educated people doesn't necessarily demand empowerment. And so if we talk about this orange, green, blue, and essentially what you had was an elaborate lyrical contortionism that spent a tremendous amount of time taking snipes at the opposition as opposed to looking forward to build to the future. Because this was supposed to be a speech to draw in individuals to have all aspects of our society move toward a collective intelligence towards designing the future, be you F&M, PLP, non-political, or any other type of environment, even for those individuals who do not take, because of religious beliefs or otherwise, who do not take any other political stand. Because we are to build a new and better Bahamas for all the humans. And even when we spoke about the so-called green, blue, orange, ocean economy, this is all we've been ever getting. It's rhetoric. No one has designed an ecosystem for where these things could be sustained, where it has laws, it has training, it has development, anything.
All right. Well, I mean, it is still pretty early in the process. You don't think that might come, that this was just to say, hey, we're back into thinking about the future, and now...
Because what happens is any national development plan that could, without giving you those pretexts of the information I said to you, those pre-information, who claim they could develop it in 1 year or 2 years, is a political plan. And this is the problem we have, is we have plans made in our image, these political images, as opposed to the image of the people. And so you're talking about looking at a island by island, community by community, as well as subsectors, one of inclusion of everyone. And for the intelligentsia, when you begin to select individuals to help develop your plan that is married to your ideology or depends on Google and otherwise to provide information. We always have this concept of, if I look at what my neighbor is doing to his wife, then I will be able to have the same type of relationship with mine. That's not how you develop a country. You develop your country based on your strengths, your qualities, your attributes, your advantages, and all of these different things. And so what I'm simply saying is that we are in urgent need for national development plans, because I've said to this before. We are in the second digital revolution, third technology revolution, fourth industrial revolution, and because of COVID, a fifth social revolution. Never again in history will you see an environment such as this. It even made WTO irrelevant.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering, thanks, Sian, thank you. I'm wondering if they're thinking that, we already have the work that was done by the Christie administration during that time when Nicola Virgil Rowe was there, and that already puts you ahead of the game, although things have changed a lot since then. Absolutely, Seattle, and you're right about that. So, but I don't think it's. I don't know. I think that could be easily provided. That information that you mentioned, and that would be. You would definitely need that. I agree with you totally. But I don't think we are starting on the ground floor quite.
Almost.
On the staircase to the first floor.
Maybe.
Second. Is that how it works? What are you doing?
The first landing.
Yeah, sure. All right. Whatever you want to call it. Yeah. But a little bit of work has been done.
I think there's there's still a lot of stuff to add to it now, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
A whole bunch.
Mm-hmm. And that wasn't a full plan before. It was really the way how to get to that point. So there is a lot to be done, absolutely. But everybody needs to say what they want. All right, the time for condemning and criticizing. In this instance, you got to move beyond that so that we can move forward. Yeah, lots of wrong has happened. Terrible things. Big mistakes and missteps. But we have to get beyond that to move forward. There'll be another time to come back and point out all those issues. Tomorrow,
But I think part of what maybe people were looking for in the speech, in the lecture last night, was was the admittances of the wrongdoings and the problems, because there's a lot of things that need to be corrected. There's a lot of things that were mentioned that should have been corrected a long time ago.
Yeah.
Through many administrations that didn't need a national development plan. But, it's spoken of as if, again, the New Day thing, this is going to change with us. And it's not changed with anybody.
Right. Wow. Oh, boy. Yeah. And it also sounds like everybody was looking for something different. Everybody was looking for something different last night. But perhaps it's just the first step. Perhaps. Let's take another call, and then we'll get to your text messages, more of them. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight and Chester.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, my dear Bahamas. Dwight, remember me keep telling you, all we have in the Bahamas is a bunch of mold murderers.
Have a bunch of what?
Mold murderers. Like talk.
Murderers.
That's what I mean. Talking don't get nothing done,
Okay.
What we need to do, Dwight, put educated people in the position, people who like doing a job in these government ministries, who can get things done. They don't want to go play next, See, you can't put people with attitude in some of these ministries. Because I listened to the song bite that you played. And they want to talk about Bahamians. But see, I just watch and see, I just watch and see. Because I know we got some greedy people in this country. Lord knows we got some greedy people in this country. We got the people in this country who don't like to pay bills. We need to stop, man. We need to fix this country. Go over the 20-year plan. Someone like Seattle there, go over the 20-year plan. Don't care what government comes power. You ain't changing that. You ain't stopping the view. You can't do nothing. All these things do is cost us money. Huh? We need to fix this country for my children, my grandchildren. Right? Young people can't even buy land in this country. They say we got a housing problem. We got a well unit problem in this country. The Bahamas one of the country in the world look like they don't like our people. Well, I guess I know why. Because they swear they original queen our ass and the successes and the wrong demons. We need to start rethinking out the book and then move themselves who don't want to do, but we tell them what to do. I'm trying to take my call.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Okay. Let's get your text messages. This person, are they back? Is that them again? No? Okay. This text. What transparency is the Prime Minister talking about when they're not following the Procurement Act and telling us who they've given tens of millions of dollars to in contracts to? What a big laugh. All right. This person says here, Prime Minister Davis's talk about stopgap measures, but $10 million for catastrophic insurance should have been $100 million. He allocated over $60 million for consultants in his office. They go on to say, my New Day government seems to be just a bunch of talk, this blueprint that they keep talking about. Nobody's feeling that. They need to look out for the needy and the poor. Well, okay. I mean, there's some things in there that some people are feeling. They're wondering when they're going to happen. But okay. And they're going to say, Brave Davis needs to go sit down. He's a big disgrace and a poor excuse for Prime Minister. He needs to deal with the situation with the cabinet minister who allegedly assaulted the police officer. Okay.
Who wrote that text?
This person says, good speech by the Prime Minister. However, everyone only remembers the part where the student asked about the LGBTQ and the Prime Minister just did the song and say, drink water and mind my own business. Did like the song and said that. Is that the only part people remember? Okay. This one says, it is always astonishing to witness our leaders' ability to compartmentalize. Their actions oftentimes clearly do not line up with their words. The ease at which this is done is eerie. And another one here. Prime Minister Davis has a lot of flowery talks. Okay. Another call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Good morning, hello.
Hi.
Hi, Dwight. The only problem I have is we have these big plans, but we don't even try and fix the small stuff that we have going on in the country. Let's start small first before we start. We can do both at the same time, but we have a bus system in the Bahamas that's non-existent.
Well, that one's not small.
That one can be fixed, though.
Yeah. Yes, it can be
fixed. Time and energy into it. Mm-hmm. We have a police system where if I want a police report, it takes me 5 weeks to get one. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays are the only days you can get a police report around here. And it's 14 working days, so it takes 5 weeks. Why?
Yeah, these are great questions. But as you say, these things can be done at the same time. There's no reason for that. We need to fix those things, but we have to plan for the future. And it doesn't seem like there is much of a plan. We're just trying to make it to next year. Yeah. Every year. That's all we're trying to do. And that's no way to run a country. So, hey.
And how are we trying to fix that, though? Because he mentioned it in his speech.
Yeah.
He's like, these 5-year cycles don't work.
So this is the time, right? Come forward again with where you want to see this country, what you want to see happening. And hopefully it'll be clearer.
What?
What?
Does anybody have any faith that even if we do get to come together?
And that's a part of the problem, too. I don't know if he didn't call it that, but people...
Our governments keep our cynicism strong.
Yeah. Right? And we're just going to keep failing, though.
They strengthen us in that. For
Every time we mention something, and I got co-hosts who do it, too, they know who they are. Every time we mention something about what could be done, if the first response is why they aren't going to allow that to happen. Not that you think it's a good thing and we need to work on it and make sure it happens. Just why the big they, won't allow that to happen. Either the politicians or the merchant class, the rich people, whoever, they won't allow it because that's going to do that to them. Like, do you want it or not? But everybody's just so defeated already. And so we have so much work to do.
When you look at Sri Lanka,
Anyway.
Oh,
gosh.
I'll leave it right there.
What now, Chester? You're just going to drop that there?
Right there.
Oh, no, man. There's a better way. We haven't tried half the things we could do. We haven't at all. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
And good morning, Mr. Chester. Good morning to those who wake up in the land of the living. I hope they had something hot to eat. Dwight, you and Chester ever heard a story say, 3 blind mice? You know about that story, right? When you was in school, but those 3 callers who called, I call them 3 blind mice. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. Mr. Davis, those was that thing last night. And he's talking about the national plan, right? Other people were there asking questions. So why isn't it that Mr. C. Allen Johnston, why isn't it that Mr. Gardner, why isn't it that call your talk show like a bunch of little crybabies this morning? That's what I don't understand with people. You had the man there to ask questions and you all didn't attend the meeting, but now you all want to call the talk show and act like a bunch of little children.
Well, I mean, we don't have to be insulting. We don't have to be insulting. I mean, people are hurt. People have been here before. We've done this before, and here we are, 10 years later, doing it again. That's tough for a lot of people, right? They want to know what's different this time. We've heard this talk before. And so people are going to be in their feelings. Absolutely. We don't need to insult them. But, right, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to ensure that people understand this time is different? And that's going to be a major challenge for this administration. Big time. A couple more calls before we go to the break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Glenn. How are you?
Doing well.
Wonderful. I always enjoy listening to the show in the morning. Like you said, we've been here before. And as a maturing people, we're moving forward. And I'd like to see some of the stuff that was in that original plan that was agreed to by Loretta, the leader of the opposition back then, and the DNA back then, and the PLP. Apparently, it was placed on the shelf in 2016. But Mr. Davis,
by the way, I don't think she was the leader of the opposition at that time.
No. Well, anyway, it wasn't just the PLP.
Right. Everybody was there except for that one person.
And they know what's the National Development Plan. Okay. Just take it off the shelf and try to implement it. Okay. You're the politician. You're being paid to do what we ask you to do, at that university, I didn't get a chance to call in the other day when you were asking, what would you like to see moving forward? I'd like to see the university, like the domes and that whole area, all of the sports center area to be developed more rapidly, a little faster, like universities around the world. Where the international students would come in and they'd have somewhere to live, somewhere to rent, and like a little shopping area too, But Mr. Davis has got his work cut out for him. He's got to go into detail, and better his detail is like it goes in with Mr. Pintazon. There's nothing wrong with that, As a developing nation, it's now teamwork. It's been 50 years, man. We should learn how to get along, and nobody is doing the crybaby thing. Okay, I respect everybody's view.
Okay.
Thank you, morning, Glenn.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. This call, and then we got to go. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight. Chester.
Hi. Good morning.
Hey, Dwight. Shouldn't we be getting a national plan from, possibly from the nation, right? I mean, per se, because we know just how our country operates, right? The politics is very, very sad, right? Because the Progressive Liberal Party were the party in power when we became independent, and to date, most of them still on the run. That part of our history belongs to them. When the FNM was the party when the airways was open up, right? And they still believe that part of the history belongs to them. The point I'm making to you, sir, is that the politics in this town it goes against our own survival, right? And until we could get a national plan from the people to the politician rather than from the politician to the people, we can always be in this back and forth with politically speaking.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's suggesting that. I don't think that's what they want the people. They want us to to be a part of this. And again, I see people saying, dusting off this old plan. Again, it's just the framework. So things have changed. A lot has changed since then. And so that can't work, even though it wasn't the full plan. It was a draft on the way forward. But so the point was to put it back in your head that we need to have a national plan going forward. So everybody come to the table, back in some cases, and let's work on this because we need to know where we're going. We cannot continue the 1 year, 5 year plan. It's not getting us anywhere. We are spinning. We're spinning. So, right? And everybody heard something different, it seems. But that's what we need to do. And people have been saying that. We need to have a real plan. Where do you want to see this Bahamas? Like I asked you last week, if you're still around, in 2073, what should the Bahamas be? Do you know? We're going to take a break. When we come back, F&M Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands is here with us. We'll ask him about that too. And more. Stay with us.
How they dance and sing like a superstar. We're gonna give it to our man on their guitar. Oh yeah.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Accepting payments from clients doesn't have to be complicated.
Introducing RBC MultiPay. Now each attorney can securely accept and settle payments with one point-of-sale device supporting multiple bank accounts.
With competitive pricing, training, and easy setup, you will be up and running in no time.
Call 356-8500 to sign up for RBC MultiPay.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Of a bite-sized payment I made on my new laptop.
Can I make a bite-sized payment on this amazing vacation?
Yes, with Scotia Select Pay. Now my big-ticket credit card purchases are more manageable with flexible bite-sized payments over 3, 6, 9, or 12 months at a lower interest rate. Scotia Select Pay allows me to better plan my expenses over time. The best part? No credit checks or financing application. Visit bs.scotiabank.com. Conditions apply.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the C.F.A.L. Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at C.F.A.L., your interest is our interest. Visit cfal.com to start now. C.F.A.L., growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Hello? Keisha use something else, boy.
Who this is? Tamika?
You don't even remember my name? Wow, Dread.
Girl, I've been so busy. You still planning your trip?
Girl, and I can't wait. I right here online booking my car.
You dare planning trip? You vaccinated?
Girl, we had to. We ain't been nowhere since this pandemic started. Girl, and we got a 14-day vacation.
Best vacation ever.
Girl, are you though?
Well, I know you was gonna get the vaccine because you too like travel. When y'all get your vaccine?
Girl, long time. Because you got to get your first dose, wait, then get your second dose at least 2 weeks before you travel. Johnny get his vaccine and he 12. Even Grammy get hers. Child, and Grammy say she ain't get no money. But I see her hiding that under the mattress.
Child, let me send my list, because I know you going shopping.
Keisha, don't play with me.
Vaccinate today, live tomorrow. A message by PAHO WHO, Canada, and USAID.
You're always on the go. We know life can be a daily rush. CIBC, First Caribbean, you can count on us. We make life easier. Manage your accounts at any time. Apply for a loan. It's easy when you bank online. We make life easier with choices that suit you. CIBC, First Caribbean.
You know, you should teach a savings class, because you know everything.
No, I just choose wisely. Like, I just got 2 months free home internet from BTC. All I did was sign up for internet.
2 months internet free? For real?
I bundled my internet and mobile services, and now I'm paying half of what the other guys charge. Plus, as a new customer, I get 2 months internet free.
What? Now, that's a big deal.
Switch to BTC Internet and get the second and third months free for new customers. Conditions apply.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem, just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment, plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
And we are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards. And as promised, we've got F&M Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands in studio with us. It's been a long time since you've been with us in person, but thank you. Welcome. Good to see you again.
It's been an incredibly long time.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Hopefully this will be the normal for us going forward.
Well, if you invite, I'll be here.
All right, wonderful stuff. All right, so you heard us before. We were talking about the lecture last night, the Prime Minister talking about national development and bringing back the National Development Plan. I want to get your take on this. And, what did you think of it? And we'll get to what he said about the F&M as well.
You know, a national development plan is a very important thing for the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We have some structural challenges. We have some long-term issues that need a long-term plan. Last night, the Prime Minister of the Bahamas had a brilliant opportunity to galvanize support, to reach across the aisle. And I think he crashed and burned. I think he ruined an opportunity. Mm-hmm. His rhetoric was divisive. He was partisan. I don't know who advised him to say the things that he did. But if you're going to talk about a national development plan, and you then talk about them other people, you know, them F&Ms and the oligarchy and the wealthy people, and to suggest with a revisionist view of history that there was precious little done during the terms of any of the Free National Movement governments, or to suggest that during the 25 years of Lyndon Pindling that all was well. The comedy or the interruption will go down as being the most memorable part of the evening, because I think the Prime Minister ruined a perfectly brilliant opportunity for statesmanship and for policy. Mm-hmm. And so last night was politics over policy.
Wow. Oh, boy. All right, so did anything else? I mean, I know you say we're all going to be focusing, and people are saying that this morning, focusing on all the other things that happened. But is there anything from what he said when he was actually talking about the way forward that sticks out in your mind?
Clearly, but, you know, when you have a gotcha moment or an aha moment, you ruin it.
Yeah.
And so the substance was lost by the horribly polarizing rhetoric.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he ought to beg for a do-over and to beg contrition from the Bahamian people and then try again.
Wow. All right. So that was a little tease there. We're going to pick this up on the other side of the news. This is Morning Blend. We're talking with F&M Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands. Stay with us.
No one's uptight early in the morning till late at night. Everybody's happy. No one's uptight. Rock from sun to sun, and then we give the drummers some.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 and Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969 or text us 422-4796. And now at 8:23, time for another check of the weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. We've got Atlantic high-pressure ridging that will continue to generate water to locally fresh winds across the country. There's a risk of water spout activity, and beachgoers in the central and southeast Bahamas should exercise caution, as there could be rip currents along east and south coast beaches. And everybody's being advised to remain hydrated and limit outdoor activities and wear sun protective gear during outdoor exposure, especially in the afternoons, due to soaring triple-digit heat indices. For all areas today, look for variable cloudiness, hot and humid conditions with isolated showers and the chance of a few afternoon thunderstorms, breezy and hazy conditions in the central and southeast Bahamas. Smokecraft caution in effect for the central and southeastern islands. Temperatures get up to around 92 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index will make it feel like 102 Fahrenheit, 39 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. In the extended outlook, a mid to upper level disturbance will progressively trek northwestward, triggering bouts of unsettled weather over portions of the islands through the weekend. Meanwhile, surface region will maintain moderate to locally fresh winds. So for Thursday, tomorrow, we're expecting partly sunny, hot and hazy conditions, breezy as well, with the chance of isolated showers and thunderstorms. Friday, cloudy to occasionally overcast, hot, hazy again, humid with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, mainly in the afternoons. And showers may be heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times. In the tropics, the surface traffic stemming from Florida, the Florida Panhandle, west-southwestward along the northern Gulf Coast continues to produce disorganized showers and thunderstorms over the northern Gulf of Mexico. The system has a low or about 10% chance of formation through the next 5 days. That's your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance, still the first and only local insurance company and agency network that lets you buy car and home insurance 100% online. Try it at bahamasfirst.com. And we've got your traffic for this morning brought to you by RBC. For all of life's moments, there's one Visa Classic credit card. Just a reminder of the closures that we're seeing in Providence. We've got Shirley Street said to be single lane from now until mid-August, basically. So keep that in mind. You might want to avoid Shirley Street if you can. We're expecting some major delays. And then between Shirley and Harmony Hill Road on Village Road is fully closed until further notice as work continues there. So if you can avoid Village Road and anywhere near Village Road, you want to do that over the next few months. In your real-time traffic this morning, what we're seeing out there at this hour, we've got the usual heavy traffic on Milo Butler Highway. That's from Fire Trail all the way up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway, even south of the roundabout with Fire Trail, and backed up on Fire Trail as well, eastbound to the roundabout. Again, that's all the way up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway. Glassman also busy for you this morning, but just about midway between Fire Trail and JFK Drive, you'll see that traffic in front of you, northbound lanes there. Blue Hill Road also seeing some congestion, especially near Carmichael Road and north of Soldier Road, the northbound lanes heading to the roundabout with Independence Drive. Independence Drive backed up a bit as well, westbound. Then we've got pockets along Prince Charles Drive and Robinson Road at the major intersections. And that intersection with Soldier Village, Wolf, and Bernard looking a little busy for you. And Eastern Road heading toward Shirley Street. As we say, there are diversions there, and so traffic is backed up a bit to Shirley Street and on Eastern Road and East Bay Street as you try to navigate getting around. Since you can't use Village Road, it's causing some issues there. That junction right near the Montague ramp. So that's a congested area. Again, avoid that if you can. And that's a problem all day long. But that's what we're looking at. That's real-time traffic in your Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC. Experience cashless purchasing power and chip and PIN security with your RBC Visa Classic credit card. Manage your day-to-day expenses and apply today at rbc.com/Caribbean/Visa Classic.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with Chester Robards. We are talking with F&M Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands. I've got a lot of things to talk to Dr. Sands about. We started off with last night with the National Development Plan. I just want to ask you, though, so people wonder about what happened with the Minutes administration and why this was shelved. This plan, that so much work was done under the Christie administration. And we know that former F&M leader Dr. Hubert Minnis wasn't there when the plan when it was presented, and that was a sign to many. But it wasn't talked about during the 4.5 years there. As someone who was there in the cabinet, what happened? Why?
There was very little conversation about the National Development Plan that I recall, and. When you look at the totality of the decision-making process, perhaps there's some things you may have wished to have done a bit differently. But I think, now that we're moving forward, we now have to recalibrate the approach, and both sides have to be looking inward, and I mean looking at what is good for the Bahamas and good for Bahamians. Mm-hmm. And we can point to the positive and the negative, but the people for whom this counts don't really care, about the division. What they'd like to see is opportunities. What they'd like to see is improvement. And on the break, I think we were saying that if you look at where we are in the Bahamas, we're at another very, very challenging moment, very similar to the moment that led to majority rule, where opportunities for the least among us are not that great, where people are being buffeted by incredible inflationary pressures on their spending power, where food security, housing security, transportation security, if such a thing exists, is a real issue. The Prime Minister spoke to it last night about educational opportunities, talked about healthcare. Right now, our healthcare system is incredibly challenged. You don't hear about it, but Princess Margaret Hospital, for the most part, on emergency only. Rand Memorial Hospital's major segments out of commission. And against that backdrop, COVID admissions climbing. So it's time to hit the reset button, focus on what's happening here in the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. You brought that up. You had a statement about, or you talked about that last week about the traveling. We talked about on the show. Your statement raised some eyebrows. I mean, some of these were not vacation trips. These were the Prime Minister and others going to some very important
Absolutely.
events. And so your statement was a little curious.
The Prime Minister has to travel.
Yeah.
Okay? What we're not convinced, though, is that he needs an entourage at 20 or 25. And that entourage, whether they're out there TikToking and Instagramming and having a good time on the people's dime, whether that's a good look. Whether or not the Prime Minister is carrying the types of persons who would be able to generate the types of benefits for Bahamians. So this is not Prime Minister don't travel. Understand that when you're traveling, you're there to do the work of the people, and you ought to be maximizing, squeezing blood out of rocks to the benefit of the Bahamian people. But there's a term that I came to know, having been a civil servant now for almost 28 years, and that is subject to the exigency of the service. And so you can travel, but when you got a fire brewing here, a fire brewing there, etc., maybe you ought to cut that trip a little bit short, go give your speech and come right back. Because right now, we are watching, again, massive inflationary pressures, historic levels of violent crime, You have multiple unions now rattling the chains. Just the airport workers are now threatening to strike this week. Teachers, nurses, healthcare system, very, very significantly challenged. And so the message is, look, you were elected by the Bahamian people, first and foremost to ensure the security and welfare of Bahamians. And while a part of that requires that you travel, we don't say that you should not travel. But, prioritize this thing a little bit more. There's not been a month that our Prime Minister has not been out of country.
But doesn't he have a team? He has plenty, as you know, plenty of people in this cabinet and others who are in working for the government. You need him? Do you need him to be here? Do we need him to be here? Or can't the other people, the many people we've employed and paying to do jobs, can't they do what they're supposed to be doing?
The role of the Prime Minister is a critical role, and it is not one that is easily substituted. So while, yes, the Deputy Prime Minister can act, certainly, historically, the messaging has been, don't swat a fly. Leave the big decisions till the Prime Minister is back. And if you are distracted by, this speech here and that speech there, etc., then the real question is, what's happening on the ground? And what we are seeing in very real ways is inattention to NIB, let's say, okay? 2020 PwC audit revealed that NIB lost $189 million in 2020. The value of the reserve fund, pension reserve fund, $1.3 billion, but $1 billion of that is in BGRS and other government equities, NIB, bonds, and so on and so forth. So in terms of available cash to NIB as of the end of December 2020, less than $100 million. Bahamians have to rely on NIB as a social security net. The Prime Minister has kicked this down the road. He prefers to talk about climate change than NIB. And while I am not suggesting that climate change is not a massive problem for the Bahamas and Bahamians, whether or not I'm going to be able to care for my family and myself when I retire is a bigger concern. So pay that a little bit of attention. To say that, we can deal with it and we can do this, and playing politics with NIB is not a good look.
But he's not the only one who's kicked it down the can, though. I mean, we've had this.
We can quibble. Quibble. There have been some interventions on NIB. The last significant intervention on NIB was in 2010. But, the fact of the matter is that NIB is scheduled to become insolvent. At least the reserve fund, pension reserve fund, is scheduled to become insolvent in 2028. We're in 2022 now, okay? So if I am scheduled to retire in 2029, Do I start hiding some money under my mattress? Do I now go put some houses on rent? Because you are telling me actuarial report after actuarial report, and then you have the good cop, bad cop, where the minister, the junior minister with responsibility for NIB is saying, hey, look, Houston, we have a problem, we have a problem, we have a problem. Mm-hmm. And then another minister, first among equals, is saying, yeah, we have a problem, but we ain't worrying about that right now. Well, when are you going to restore confidence in NIB? Spend some time to focus on this very important part of the social safety net for Bahamians. No. We're not convinced that he is adequately focused on a very important issue.
Yeah. You talked about healthcare and the healthcare system. I was at the state reception a couple nights ago. I didn't see you, but you were there. You were there, and it was a lot of people, and not a mask in sight. And the whole weekend, people were talking about that, how they went to Junkanoo, people were very close, not social distancing, no masks. But we heard in that report, new variants, we keep hearing about that. What are you making as Dr. Sands, who was there at the height of this pandemic and warning us every day about what's out there? What are you thinking?
So, COVID is the scarlet letter now. You don't talk about it. We don't hear anything about it because of the bad memories of lockdowns and shut-ins and so on and so forth. But what that has given way to is a level of damn the torpedoes, okay? So we're not even testing anymore by PCR. Yesterday, I think we did less than 150 PCR tests. Positivity rates have been 20% or more for the last 3 months, suggesting that we have significantly higher spread than we think. Mm-hmm. Hospitalizations, that you remember the story, well, ain't nobody being hospitalized. Well, hospitalizations are up to 53 as of yesterday. You have some patients in the intensive care unit. How do I know that? Because I take care of them. Mm-hmm. And we have continued deaths. The BA4 and 5 variants have been described as the worst COVID virus variant ever. And so around the world, we are watching this thing change. The recommendation is stay awake, stay focused. Everybody hates the idea of restrictions, mm-hmm. but let's at least be uniform. What are we going to do? The Minister of Health and Wellness yesterday almost beside himself with the fact that you have all of these people now flaunting the regulations for COVID. There's a disconnect whether you're on this side of the bridge, that side of the bridge, in a hotel. We watch the sailaways to the island events, a gazillion people tied up on each other. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned the event the other night. We expect that there's going to be a bump. But what that does to an already stressed out system where we do not have nurses, and I want to be very clear about that, mm-hmm. we are at a critically low level of nurses in the entire healthcare sector in the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm. How bad is it?
It is bad. It is bad to the point where operating room schedules have been shut down to emergency only. It is bad to the point where many essential services have had to be eliminated. And particularly young nurses that have an opportunity to seek better employment elsewhere are leaving the Bahamas in droves. Mm-hmm. And we are not minting new nurses fast enough. Yeah. So when I listen to the discussion about infrastructure, we already have 2 large mini hospitals in Abaco and Exuma with brand new equipment that's never been used because we don't have radiographers, we don't have pharmacists, we don't have x-ray technicians, and we certainly don't have nurses to use them properly. So it makes no sense to build concrete and mortar facilities when you don't have the human resources. Our big challenge in healthcare right now is a nursing problem, a pharmacy problem, an x-ray technician, an ultrasound technician problem. It is a human capital problem. And we haven't solved it.
Yeah. Wow. I want to get back to COVID. Just I don't want this to be a COVID discussion because as you say, people have moved on, sadly. But from what you're seeing, are those who are being hospitalized, were they vaccinated? What do we know about what's happening with them?
It's a mix. Certainly, some have not. Vaccination with Omicron doesn't stop in any meaningful way transmission or being infected with Omicron. It does protect you against the severest manifestation of COVID. But bear in mind, vaccination is based on the ancestral COVID strain, which is long gone. And the need for newer vaccines, as Moderna, I believe, has started talking about, is where the conversation has centered. And this is going to be a conversation, an unpopular conversation that we're going to continue to have. But we need to be alert. We have to continue the surveillance. Let's at least be somewhat clear about when somebody should wear a mask, when they don't need to wear a mask, and try to be uniform in the approach.
I want to talk about what's happening within the F&M in a bit, but you mentioned crime, the murder wave we seem to have been having. It's calmed down a little bit in the last few days, but we know there's still incidents of gun violence is rampant in the country. Let's talk about that. You said the Prime Minister needs to be here. What can be done by the Prime Minister, by this administration? What do you think needs to be happening?
So let me put this in context because, in my other life, a significant part of what I do is to work as a surgeon, and in particular, a trauma surgeon, okay? So if we go back all the way to 1990, the Bahamas has had an unfortunately high, ridiculously high level of violent crime. So if we talk about homicide rates, the homicide rate in the United States per 100,000 is 5. In Great Britain, France, it's 2. In 1990, the homicide rate per 100,000 in the Bahamas was 16. It went up in 2015 to 39 per 100,000.
Wow.
It came down in 2017, 2018, 2019, et cetera, to, I believe, 20-something, 5-ish. Crept up to 29 again, and now we're headed up to 40 or more, which puts us as one of the most violent countries in the world.
And you said the number for the U.S. was 5.
5.
Right?
Yeah. It last year, 2021, it went up to 7. Okay? So notwithstanding what we see with all of the gun activity in the United States, we are multiples of that per capita.
My goodness.
So we are a more violent country than the United States has ever been on a good day in the Bahamas. So we need the tribalism in these discussions to stop, for us to now look at what type of multi-sectoral collaboration we can have, how we can equip the police, how we can adjust our judicial system, and so on and so forth, in order to deal with a problem that has been with us for at least 3 decades and longer, and it's going to take focused attention, not paying it lip service.
Yeah.
Is it fair to actually use the per capita measurement in this case? I mean, because especially when you look at the United States, the gun violence is almost in some instances random, whereas here you can almost spell out where the violence is going to happen, when the violence is going to happen, who it's going to happen to.
The parallels of urban Nassau to urban Detroit, urban Chicago, Newark, South Central LA, they're very similar. So if you were to go to Acklands or Crooked Island, you don't see gun violence, okay? If you go to certain parts of Andros, you don't see the level of... So what we are seeing in inner city New Providence, and to a lesser degree, but significant amount in Freeport, is a consequence of a number of different factors. So our conversation in terms of a national plan ought to be what types of things we're going to put in place to remove derelict vehicles, to get rid of dilapidated buildings, what type of saturation patrols, how are we going to police our borders to avoid guns coming into the country, and so on. These are the types of conversations that we need to have. Mm-hmm. But understand that the company that we're in, South Africa, countries in Central America, Jamaica, Trinidad, Colombia, etc. Yeah. Okay? We ain't no company with the United States. We ain't no company with Mexico. We are, and people say, boy, why are you talking down the country? I'm just speaking the truth. The truth of the matter is that the best metric is a per capita metric, because we have a population of just under 400,000 people. The United States has a population of 321 million. Right. Okay, so if you say that you had, as you did in 2021 in the United States, 19,400 murders, that sounds like a lot of murders, right? But when you compare it to 76 murders in 6 months in the Bahamas, and you do the arithmetic, you say, boy, we got a far bigger problem in Nassau than they have in Chicago.
Yeah.
And that is startling when you put it that way.
Absolutely. The average Bahamian knows so many people who've been shot and murdered compared to, I think, almost anywhere in the world. It is astounding.
The commentary that, this is, people known to the police, while that may be true, we also are watching young children get shot, women get shot, people get injured, and hats off to our EMS, emergency room staff, surgical staff, nursing staff, etc., who stand in the gap. And I say it, I've said it before over many, many years. If it were not for them, our murder rate would be far higher. Because what they do is they salvage a number of these people that have been shot and stabbed.
Yeah. Wow. All right, we need to take a break. You wanted to really, Yeah,
I mean, you need to go to a break.
Yeah, we do. Okay, when we come back, we'll get into what Chester wanted to ask and talk about the F&M, where things stand at this point. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're talking with Dr. Dwayne Sands, chairman of the F&M. Stay with us.
When faced with an illness like cancer, we band together, and we at Cleveland Clinic in Florida have your back. From advanced cancer treatments to extra safety measures at all of our locations, we're with you on this journey. For every infusion and follow-up, for every step of the way, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic in Florida. Get the care you need when and where you need it. To learn more or connect with a local representative, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
Know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches. Fidelity, we're good for
you. You should teach a savings class, because you know everything.
No, I just choose wisely. Like, I just got 2 months free home internet from BTC. All I did was sign up for internet.
2 months internet free? For real?
I bundled my internet and mobile services, and now I'm paying half of what the other guys charge. Plus, as a new customer, I get 2 months internet free.
What? Nah, that's a big deal.
Switch to BTC Internet and get the second and third months free for new customers. Conditions apply.
Breakfast just got better at Wendy's. Introducing the Breakfast Piggy Bag. Enjoy a double sausage muffin with 2 square sausage patties, a freshly cracked egg, and cheese served on a toasted English muffin, a medium waffle fries, and an orange juice for only $5.25, VAT inclusive. Add an apple pie for just $1 more.
Say what?
At Wendy's, better breakfast is all day. Offers valid in participating locations. Wendy's, different inside and out.
At Esso, we're thankful for you. So we're giving away thousands of dollars in free fuel. Just fuel up with any amount at any Esso service station, and you could be randomly selected to win a $50 fuel voucher. There will be over 100 lucky winners every week. It's that simple. Fuel up with any amount at any Esso service station for your chance to win. Special conditions apply. Visit facebook.com/Salt Petroleum Bahamas for more details. Promotion ends July 22nd, 2022. The Esso brand is a trademark of ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
At Western Union, we have different sending options for you to use the one that fits you best. You can send money directly to bank accounts around the world, or for cash pickup by visiting our agent locations. Or you can also start your money transfer in our app and then pay cash in store. Look for an agent location near you, or download our app and send money to your loved ones abroad.
Whether you're battling a chronic condition or offsetting a new injury, Doctors Hospital's comprehensive rehab services offer the help you need now. 3 advanced facilities at Collins Avenue, Carmichael Road in Cable Beach means your personalized plan for care is just a visit away. From physiotherapy to occupational therapy and speech and language pathology, our team approach is all about rebuilding together. For a full list of services, visit doctorshosp.com/rehabilitation. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now. Isn't your health worth it?
Are you an attorney with a joint practice operating from one location? Accepting payments from clients doesn't have to be complicated.
Introducing RBC MultiPay. Now each attorney can securely accept and settle payments with one point-of-sale device supporting multiple bank accounts.
With competitive pricing, training, and easy setup, you will be up and running in no time.
Call 356-8500 to sign up for RBC MultiPay.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong with Chester Robards. We are talking with Dr. Dwayne Sands, the chairman of the Free National Movement. You mentioned something off air. I wanted to get that on the air, though, because I think I was going to ask about it. I have it written here. I was going to ask you about that. These settlements that we're seeing, and the government's not disclosing how much the F&M's asking. Of course, they have a response to that, right? Well, you all are asking now, but you got us into these messes that could have been major legal challenges and cases which the government would have lost. But let's talk about that, the settlements themselves and the fact that we're not hearing what the settlement amounts were.
So at many different levels, I think that this is a bad idea to have the government of the Bahamas acting as judge and jury, determining who should get paid, how much they should get paid, paying them with taxpayers' money, and then telling the taxpayers, look, you can't handle this information, and so we're not going to tell you. Mm-hmm. And then to hear the press secretary in the office of the Prime Minister come up with an explanation that this would pose a security risk if the Commissioner of Police and the Deputy Commissioner of Police are not, they have a whole army of armed officers protecting them. So if they can't feel safe, what are you saying about life in the Bahamas? Okay, so I found that to be absurd. So the secrecy is unfortunate. You then ask the question, are there conflicts? If Minister X was the lawyer for this person and Minister Y was the lawyer for did they recuse themselves in the discussion? So we have an independent judiciary that is perfectly capable of managing these things, and you spending not your money but ours. So it is a problem. At the same time, you have other Bahamians looking on who are asking for a few crumbs, asking for an improved standard of living. Let's take nurses, for instance. And they say, look, we're struggling, we can barely make it. And they see outrageous expenditure, $2.6 or $2.3 million to this one, $1 million to that one. I'm making the numbers up because they haven't told us exactly how much it is. But we ask you for maybe 5% or 7% raise, and you tell me the cupboard is bare, okay? Well, I just got this invitation to go work in the United States. And because you all treat me with contempt, I gone. And so as a consequence now, we are watching our nurses leave in droves. In droves. And believe me that we can't train young nurses fast enough to replace the ones that are taking job opportunities in Canada, United States, Great Britain, etc.
Yeah, but the government is saying that these settlements are better than had these gone through the court process. They would have gotten probably millions more if it had been a court matter, and that settling out of court was in the best interest for everybody.
So you're suggesting, therefore, that we don't have an independent judiciary, because if you know what the outcome is going to be in a matter that's taken to court, then you are suggesting that we don't have an independent judiciary and that it's a foregone conclusion.
Or that the case was so strong against the government, or that the government's case was so weak.
Well, I mean, it really depends on whether or not the effort to bring the case was feeble or appropriate. Again, this comes down to who are these persons, and are these people aligned with your administration or not? Okay? And why did you choose to give them settlements when we have hundreds, if not thousands, of people that have had land that has been taken by the state for eminent domain purposes to put highways and so on and so forth that never got paid? People that won cases before the courts that haven't been paid. But you choose to cherry pick that we can give this one $2 million and we give that one $2 million and so on and so forth. On what basis? How did they jump the line? And so you may think that because you have the power, that the Bahamian people are not looking on and saying, okay. Goodwill is squandered very, very quickly. And I suspect that the honeymoon for this administration, the New Day administration, is over.
Chester, you had a question.
Yeah, just on the idea of crime and what crime plans can be developed for the country, because it seems that we kind of know where the problems lie. But taking a multi-sectoral approach, it feels like governments don't do that. They don't look at education, they don't look at social services, and then also look at policing and put all of that together and say, all of these heads need to come together to fix this problem. It doesn't seem like governments have done that.
Well, we've done it. The problem is we don't act on it. So the last crime commission that I participated in was in the early 90s. It was chaired or co-chaired by Archbishop Gomez. Right. It was a very comprehensive look at crime, the root causes of crime. The term culture of criminality came out of that discussion. But we recognized that we had to do more than just equip the police with police cars and guns. That there were so many different things that go into criminal behavior. Yeah. But opportunities for education, opportunities for housing, dealing with the immigration challenges, all of these things feed into the level of crime in the country. And honestly, if we are going to collaborate on any particular issue, this ought to be it. Yeah. Lock the door. Yes, you're entitled to take your victory lap and so on and so forth, but let's get it done. Yeah. The leader of the opposition, Michael Pintard, has made it very clear that we are prepared to collaborate. We have submitted a list of recommendations that consider all of these kinds of things to help to arrest the problem with crime. Yeah. We have seen crime drop in the Bahamas for periods and then climb again. Let's look at, in a granular way, how that happened to see if we can continue to build on it. But to have these sustained levels, 39 homicides per 100,000, the impact on the community, the psychological impact, the impact on loss of revenue, the money diverted from other things, research and development, to security,
Right.
not helpful.
And the impact on healthcare, like you mentioned.
And I have said it over and over and over, that when you come in the hospital with cancer, when you come in the hospital with diabetes, etc., a lot of the resources that we need to take care of you, we have spent on the persons that have been shot and stabbed.
Wow. So what can we do to attract nurses here? I mean, what can be done? What do you suggest?
This is an issue of a thorough realignment of the relative value of a nurse in the country. And I believe that nurses have to be taken out of sync. We say that a nurse and a police officer and a teacher are roughly equivalent, right? Well, perhaps we may have to now align nurses with another class of officer, public officer, and compensate them differently, but also provide a working environment which is less stressful, which is less dangerous, and so on. The studies have been done. When I was minister, we would have organized a high-level think tank of nursing stakeholders to say, what are the real reasons why we are losing nurses? That report is there. They can go ahead and dust it off. We would have implemented a number of those recommendations, but there are others. And if we don't do it, we're going to find ourselves in a situation like many countries in the region that have insufficient nurses to provide basic care.
My goodness. Well, all right, we are running out of time, but let's talk about the F&M. What's happening with the Free National Movement? There's still the sense among many that that there's a leadership battle going on, that Dr. Menace is still asserting himself in a way that is at times overshadowing Michael Pintard. Well, what do you say to that?
Well, let me say that there is one leader of the Free National Movement that has been democratically determined at convention in an overwhelming fashion, and the leader of the Free National Movement is Michael Clifton Pintard. He has the unfettered support of his chairman, Dwayne Sands, his deputy, Shannon Dawn Cartwright, his Secretary General, Sir Fenn Roll, and a host of party officers. Now, that said, this is a rather peculiar scenario that we have right now, where a previous prime minister remains as a seated member of parliament. If you think about this historically, there was a period of time when Lyndon Pindling did that. Hubert Ingram, I don't believe, ever did that, and certainly Perry Christie never did that. Okay, and so and somebody who's used to be the center of attention now, there
was a little period with Ingram, but
very, very
yeah.
brief, very brief. But in terms of to now have a previous or former prime minister sitting as a member of parliament, it's something that's a bit unusual. But bear in mind that we continue to move on. We are recalibrating the approach. We recognize that some 40,000 supporters of the Free National Movement in 2017 stayed home and did not vote. We recognize that this is a minority elected government, that the increment from 2017 to 2021 was just 7,000 votes for the Progressive Liberal Party that led to their victory. And we need to acknowledge or claim the things that we did right, but also the things that we did wrong, and we're doing it. And we are rebuilding the organization under new management.
Okay, all right. So you say it's an unusual situation. I mean, what are you going to do about it? Are we going to encourage there to be a by-election? Is that what's happening behind closed doors? Is that what needs to be happening?
I mean, you have to stay focused. And at the end of the day, you can get very, very distracted by the side issues. Bahamians looking on want a better way of life. They are prepared to give you an opportunity to implement your program. But the electorate of the Bahamas has demonstrated that, hey, if you can't get it together, 5 years later we can roll you out, okay? It happened in 2002, it happened in 2007, 2012, 2017, 2021, and let me predict today on the 13th of July, 2022, it's going to happen again.
Oh boy.
If we do the type of work, the heavy lifting that we need to do as an organization to make ourselves attractive to regain the trust of the Bahamian people.
All right, so listen to this text as we get ready to wrap up. Dwight, why did you bring this man on the air today? He's talking nothing but bad news. He's really killing my mood first thing this morning. And I'm thinking on the heels of independence, is there anything right in the Bahamas today, Dr. Dwayne Sands?
Absolutely. I think we have a lot to be proud of as Bahamians. We have accomplished much. We went from a sleepy fishing village. We have extended the quality of life for many persons throughout the family of islands. My father was born in Long Island. There wasn't any potable water. There were no roads and so on and so forth. So we've seen electrification, internet access, and so on and so forth. That said, while we can look back, we have to ask, how do we make this, to steal a line from the United States, a more perfect union? And the young people who don't remember those days want to know, what are you doing now for us to make our lives better? And so in response to the questions asked, I would have given you candid answers. But I'm proud to be Bahamian. I have allegiance to no other country. And the role that I play here, I believe, is one of nation building. I'm going to be loud, I'm going to be courteous, but I'm going to build this country.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. And you didn't answer the questions. Yes. So I guess I led him down that mood-killing path. But anyway, always a pleasure. Glad to have you back in studio with us. And hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Just send the invitation.
All right.
All right.
Take care.
All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Morning Blend Business, we are talking with our friends from A Squared SBDC. That's right after news headlines. Stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Wednesday, July 13th, 2022. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards. And this morning we are again talking with our friends from A2 SBDC, Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center. And it's our twice monthly segment with the wonderful folks there. This morning with us, we are very pleased to have Head of Pre-Funding, Kenron Brannon, and Business Analyst, Alicia Murphy. Good morning, everybody. Great to have you with us.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chester. You're Alicia or Alicia?
Alicia.
Yes, I know, boy. Alicia. Alicia Murphy, great to have you with us. All right, so you've got a lot going on. We've been hearing about it over the past few months, all the exciting things going on there with S.E.T, right? Yep. And Guaranteed Loan Program and more. So let's talk about it, how things are progressing, where things are, what people need to know.
Okay, so last night we had our initial session of the S.E.T program. It's the acronym is short for the Summer Entrepreneurship Training Series.
Okay.
So basically, we have about 16 weeks of training and mentoring sessions that run on Tuesday and Thursday nights each week. And there are also 3 pitch competitions scheduled for that kind of is in the mix of all that we have going on. So it's quite the interesting program.
Yeah. All right. So how do people be a part of it, and what do they need to do to be a part of it?
So we have our sign-up platform. So I think if you go to our website, there's a sign-up link there to actually participate in the program. As well, we'll be launching very, very shortly. I think it's out already. The sign-up sheets for the next session as well as the pitch competition. So if you go ahead and sign on to our website, which is www.accessaccelerator.org, you should be able to find our information and all the information relative to S.E.T.
Another important thing I want to add about the S.E.T series, we are keeping up with the time, so we have a hybrid model. You have the option of attending in person. We do have a capacity for that, but you can also attend virtually. So we're working on ensuring that everyone across all the islands can participate.
Right. So do you have to be a business owner, an entrepreneur already, or can you just be in the mindset? Can you be thinking about it like, this is what I want for my future? How does it work?
I'll definitely say it's the mindset. You can be an active entrepreneur or someone that's looking to launch. The important thing about the S.E.T series is it's about education and mentorship. So what we're trying to do is promote things about branding, about what's your why are you doing this, about pricing and different costing, things like that. So we just want to ensure that the knowledge is there for individuals that may not have been always connected to us, but may want that information.
Yeah. What are you seeing from those taking part in it? I mean, are their mindsets right, or like you all have a lot to learn? What do you see?
No. We were seeing from our first session in the room, we had a lot of entrepreneurs that are already doing things, people who had questions, especially on the virtual. A lot of people had questions about the drive behind it. So the first session was, what's your why? Why are you doing this? What do you want to do? How do you want to impact your economy or your community? So we're getting a lot of different feedback. And that's the beauty of it. The hybrid session, opening up to the entire public, we get a lot of insight on what people are thinking.
Okay, so what's your why? Now, if your why is, I need money, I want money. Community, is that a problem?
Not at all.
No. Go ahead.
I'd say because, we teach a lot of different things through the program, the S.E.T series. So one of those things are pricing and costing. So that's an important thing. You want to make money. You want to know how to manage your money, how to manage your costs. So it doesn't matter what your why is. We're going to give you the tools you need to implement that idea.
I think the only thing that I'd add there is that everyone has to start from somewhere. So, a lot of our prospective entrepreneurs, they come in and they just have a dream. They think that entrepreneurship is, or they have a very flowery idea of what entrepreneurship is. Yeah. They don't understand the hard work, the dedication, the sleepless nights, the toil that's associated with launching your own business and actually keeping that business working and keeping it growing. I think what the S.E.T series does most of all is actually it marries the passion for entrepreneurship with the actual real facts behind what it is that you do every day.
Tell us a little bit more about that first session, like who was the speaker and kind of what the attendance was like.
Right. So for our first session, we had 50 individuals in person. On the virtual, we can have up to 300 individuals attend. We had an entrepreneur, one of our clients that have already been funded, Mr. Simonet. He's an Eleuthera-based client, so he has a farm, Apple Hole Farm. So he was able to talk about how he got started, how he's been successful, and how he's managing his operations.
Wow.
And what was his why?
What was his why? Well, he really has a passion for farming,
Okay.
being from the Family Islands especially. So what he was doing was very beneficial to him. He said his parents, especially his father, played a role in that as well.
You said apple
Whole farm.
whole farm.
Mhm.
Okay. It's about apples?
Pineapples.
Okay.
I was wondering myself.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Pineapple,
Makes
that's
sense.
great.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
He's also a livestock farmer as well. I think the thing for him in his messaging, one of the more interesting things is the passion that you have to have for the things that you do when you move into entrepreneurship. So in this case, hearing him talk about, whether it was the crops or the animals that he was raising, I think the thing that was infectious and very tangible in the room is the fact that he loves this farm.
Yeah.
And I think more than anything else, when you're an entrepreneur, you're not always going to be making a whole lot of money. Sometimes the clients may not be coming, or they may not be the most fun to deal with.
Yeah.
But the thing that drives you every day, that keeps you there, is the passion behind it. And I think he really, really, really communicated that to us last night.
Yeah. All right. So what else can we expect over the next the series?
Right. So the series is every Tuesday, and every Thursday we have an Ask an Advisor session. So this week, Mr. Brandon, myself, and Mr. Roll from Post Funding, we're going to be taking questions from all of our clients. Once you get on our website and go into that set series tab, you can put in your questions in advance. But for the next series on Tuesday, we're going to be talking about branding. So we have another one of our funded clients that's going to come in and give some conversation, take some questions about branding and how you can maximize your business, whether your potential or already there with branding.
Yeah. What are you seeing so far as some of the frequently asked questions?
Well, one of the main
yourselves?
questions that we always get is how can you get funded? Because, people know Access Accelerator for providing access to funding. But we don't want that to be our sole message and mission. What we do is more than that. We are very focused on education, like we see through our S.E.T series, also very focused on advocacy. So through our partnerships with various individuals and even private entities like Royal Caribbean Group, we try to do our best to make sure that anyone that comes through our doors gets a robust experience in business services.
Yeah.
I would also add there as well that, like Alicia talked about advocacy, another part of what we do is also business development. So if you come into our doors, you don't have a business plan, maybe you're an existing business and you haven't been keeping financials. All of these different bits and pieces that go together to actually create the reporting side and also the functional sides of your business, we actually help to develop and fund actually some parts of it.
Yeah. Well, all right. So again, tell us if people are hearing this and like, yeah, I definitely need to be a part of this. What they can do now. You said to go to the website.
They can go to our website. The address is www.accessaccelerator.org. And once they click the Join Us tab, they go ahead and there's some initial information that they need to fill out there. And once they fill out that information, they actually are contacted by one of our team members. Additionally, they can also send us a WhatsApp or call us at 359-0626 or 359-2394.
Well, all right. And how many opportunities are people going to have to be doing this? Some are, we're winding it down. We're getting through it very quickly.
Yeah, the series is for 15 weeks, so we're going to go into, I believe, mid-October.
Yeah,
so
okay.
everyone has an opportunity to sign up and join any one of the sessions that they may be interested in.
Excellent.
But the pitch competitions are different.
Yes, so that's based on capacity, meaning individuals that sign up to be a participant or a competitor. But it's going to be an exciting environment.
But I think for the pitch competition, you have to be an existing business?
Not necessarily.
Oh,
You can
okay.
be a new startup, but once you're prepared to meet before our judges, whoever the panel may be, it's going to be good. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
So great opportunities. In addition to funding, you get that business exposure.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So you talked about funding, the guaranteed loan program. Let's talk about that and what people need to know at this time about it.
The Guaranteed Loan Program is actually the flagship program for the Access Accelerator. Essentially, in that program, clients will go through one of three steps to actually getting access to the funding. So if you come in and you don't have a business plan at all, you don't really understand entrepreneurship in general, we will start you on an educational pathway, which will take a little bit longer. The second way of joining that particular program is if you were to come in with a business plan. We go ahead, we take the business plan from you, and we have members of our internal team review the plan for correctness, for viability of the business and some other critical areas, and then we move you on to the final stage, which is actually a meeting with our investment committee where we get the final approval for the guarantee. The third way of actually matriculating through this program is through our business plan writing program. This program actually allows clients to have a business plan written for them. The SBDC will defray a part of the cost up to a maximum of $500, sorry. And the business plan will actually be written by an actual professional business plan writer.
Wow. Yeah. And how important is that professional business plan?
I think it's the business plan in general is the most important part of your business. We have some clients that are brave enough to go ahead and write it themselves.
Don't do it. Take my advice. Don't do it.
And there are some very, very critical considerations in the business plan. It can be quite the complicated endeavor. If you have access to a professional, we would say have the professional at least help you do it.
You can't Google it and like copy a template or something? Doesn't work like that? No?
Don't do it.
Copy paste?
Definitely.
Let's explore this a little more, because people are thinking like, oh, this can't be that difficult. I know what I want. I know, and I talk to my friends and they say they like this and I'm going to do this. This is my business. What's the big deal?
I think the critical misnomer about writing a business plan is just that it's very, very simple. It's basic. Yeah. You have some basic parts that you just fill out and it's fine. The reality is that everything that drives the success of your business comes from that plan. So when you look at the market that you want to approach, actually quantifying what that market is, how many people are actually interested in the product that you want to sell or service that you want to provide, how many people want it, whether it's scalable. So can I do this, but can I do it over and over and over again? What are the costs associated with the business? What's the sales approach that I'm going to take? What's the personnel plan? How does that contribute to the overall success of the business? What is the business's actual operation? So you have people working in the business, but what do these people do? What time do they come to work? What do they contribute to the overall operation of the business? So these are all plans that are things that oftentimes it goes over our head. We don't see why they're important. We don't see how they contribute, but they're really important.
Financial projections. You don't want to do that by yourself. And the other thing, having been through it, the other thing that's important about the business plan writer, especially for me, was that you have an objective look at your plan.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be like, this is great, and I am going to succeed. And the plan writer is going to go, there's a problem here. You kind of suck at this.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then you go, oh, I guess I might need,
Right. But to add, for individuals that do want to prepare their own plans, on the pre-funding team, we do have business reviewers that take a look at it, like Chester mentioned, that objective view, and say, well, these are some areas for improvement. Maybe you need to consider this or that expense to be included in your financial projections, things like that. So even if you want to do it on your own, we do provide review services as well.
Don't write your own plan.
All right, so there are actual companies that are out there doing this. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So tell us about what you all do at A Squared SBDC. So as a head of pre-funding and a business analyst, let's talk about what your roles are.
Sure.
Lisa, you want to start?
Yes, so as a business analyst, sounds like a very general term, and some of what I do is quite wide encompassing, but my main focus as an analyst is to leverage the data that we have and that we collect on our clients, whether that's economic impact data or people who are coming in through the front door saying, I need this particular service, see how best we can use our resources to meet those services and those needs. Okay. And in the department that I work in, which is the funding department, once you come through our flagship program, the Guaranteed Loan Program, I tell everybody I'm going to be your best friend. I'm going to be communicating with our funding partners to ensure that the request that you're making, whether it's for equity or debt or even for a grant, that you are best positioned to get that approved. Okay. So it's not always going to be a favorable outcome, but once we're in tight communication, we're providing the information that's necessary, it's going to be a very positive journey, I'll say that.
Okay. All right. Did you have to interact with Mr. Robards over here?
Yes, we're getting...
we interact. Yes. Stay up business.
All right. And Kenron, tell us about pre-funding.
Well, pre-funding is primarily concerned with business development, so educational development and business development. So our team is primarily responsible for everything from when the client walks through the door to when we passed them over to Alicia and the external financial institutions. But we manage the client's progress through the program. We handle the reviews, the review process. We manage the business plan writer program. We manage the biker voucher program. We also are responsible for the educational platform management, so making sure that the actual educational pathways are built out, fully functional, and also just managing the client experience. So, sometimes people have challenges, maybe getting onto the platform, maybe understanding exactly where in the overall process they start. Our team also oversees that dimension as well.
You mentioned the biker voucher program. Is that for already funded individuals or also people who are still putting their plans together?
It's actually for both.
Oh, okay.
So one of our underpinning missions in the Access Accelerator, yes, we provide access to funding. Yes, we do training. But overall, our main mission is to nurture entrepreneurship, no matter what that looks like, no matter where that stands. So we want to provide programming, but also access to services that actually add value to both startups and existing businesses.
Right. BICA is Bahamas Institute of Chartered Accountants.
I remember.
All right. Well, I don't know if everybody else
Right,
does.
yes, thank you.
We're here throwing around these acronyms.
That's true.
and,
That is very true. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to find out about the digital skills training module and what that's all about. That's after the break. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
What? What the sick? Somebody get slapped? I don't know. Big corruption. What you say? The right touch guy. Sign your basketball teams up today for the Michael Scooter Reed Peace on the Streets Basketball Classic, August 1st through the 7th at the Hope Center. Get ready for the pastors versus politicians, along with the Phil Lightburn Slam Dunk Contest, then Energy 3-point shootout, along with all championship games, live in living color at the Kendall G. Liza Gymnasium, Sunday, August 7th, beginning at 5 p.m. That's the Michael Scooter Reed Peace on the Street Basketball Classic. For more information, contact 601-4842.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem, just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment, plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Boy, why you look so mashed up like clothes at the washer?
No, boy, just a hard day, boy.
Hard day? What happened? The breakfast lady ran out of tuna and gritty.
We need to start joking about everything, you know. This serious, boy. This real serious, boy.
Boy, what's serious? Tell me.
All right, well, today, boss gave us, boy, one big contract. And nobody else get a chance and nobody say nothing.
Boy, you know that ain't right. You know government contracts ain't supposed to go that way.
Yeah, but nobody's saying nothing. Boss man just tell people to sign the papers. Then he send me to meet his boy downtown and collect this envelope.
You need to tell somebody. You need to become a whistleblower.
You know I's a real man, but I never blow no whistle. I be drunk all my life in Jonkono.
No way. A whistleblower is someone who tells people what they see when they see something wrong happening at work.
But I ain't no whistleblower, and I ain't no snitch. I still white there, you know.
But ain't nobody can know it's you. All you gotta do is call Crime Stoppers, or you could text them from inside the Crack Crime Bahamas app. They don't ask about you, and your call goes straight through to Miami, so nobody know you is. And if you text, your message get mixed up like Kong Salad.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
The Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center is here to help small businesses throughout the entire Bahamas. To better serve you, we've made it easier to contact us. Call 461-7232, WhatsApp 359-0626 or 359-2394, email helpdesk@spdcbahamas.com, or submit a ticket when you visit our help center at accessaccelerator.org. the Access Accelerator, empowering small business.
Come on, baby! I'm the man! I can fix anything! Anytime! Just call me! Listen, girl! If you're tired of blind girl, I can fix that. Yes! No need to call me tire shop, girl, I can blow you up. Listen now, whatever you got that's broken down, call me and I'll be around. Baby, I can fix you up, cause I'm your handyman, I'm your handyman. Yes! Hey girls, I am your handyman. Yes, girl, call me. Just trying to make a living, just doing the best I can. Yes, yes, man.
And it's time for your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL. As sports utility vehicles that would have cost $45,000 to $50,000 before the start of the pandemic can cost customers now about $60,000 for the same vehicle. Bahamas Bus and Truck General Manager and Bahamas Motor Dealers Association Vice President Ben Albury says on the average, new car prices in the country are up 20% because of continued shortages with raw materials and supply chain disruptions. Albury says the situation is pushing the cost of used cars up as well. He told Guardian Business that because of the shortages, it's been very difficult to get new vehicles, and it's been going on for almost 2 years now. He says they're seeing when they order products, the product can get canceled, and that there's a need to reorder them. Auto sales are struggling in most countries. For the U.S., forecasters say that auto sales are down about 20% for the first half of the year, and the average price for new vehicles is more than $45,000, including for small sedans. Albury says the uncertainty of the auto market is unlike anything he's ever seen in his decades-long career. Read more about it in today's Guardian Business section. And technical work under the Pillar 2, which introduces a 15% global minimum corporate tax rate, is largely complete, according to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. However, the intergovernmental body will delay implementation by a year. The Bahamas is one of 136 OECD member jurisdictions that has agreed to the G20 OECD Inclusive Framework on Base Erosion and Profit Shifting to reform the global taxation system. An implementation framework is expected to be released later this year to facilitate implementation and coordination between tax administrations and taxpayers under Pillar 2. It was originally planned that the new regime would be implemented by 2023. However, the OECD pushed the completion of the multilateral convention back a year, giving the Bahamas more time to complete and pass the requisite legislation and compliance. The new global minimum tax rules are expected to be fully implemented now in 2024. Overseas, surging prices for gas, food, and rent catapulted U.S. inflation to a new 4-decade peak in June, further pressuring households and likely sealing the case for another large interest rate hike by the Federal Reserve, with higher borrowing costs to follow. Consumer prices soared 9.1% compared with a year earlier, the biggest yearly increase since 1981. That's up from a 8.6% jump in May. On a monthly basis, prices rose 1.3% from May to June, another substantial increase after prices had jumped 1% from April to May. The ongoing price increases underscoring the brutal impact of inflation and that it's had on families, lower income and Black Hispanic Americans have been hit especially hard because of the disproportionate share of their income going toward essentials like housing, transportation, and food. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Tuesday, your market movers, Bank of the Bahamas, moving 2,000 shares, closing at 251 unchanged. The BISX All Share Index closing at 2,592.70, down 0.02. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by C-FAL, growing wealth for future generations. We're back here with Morning Glen Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong along with Chester Robards. This morning we are talking with A Squared SBDC. And we've got Alicia Murphy, business analyst, and Kenron Brainan, head of pre-funding. And we've been talking about a lot of the exciting things going on at the Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center. Again, A Squared SBDC. All right, so you've got a digital skills training module. Tell us about that. What exactly is that?
Digital skills training, a very, very important thing for all entrepreneurs. So some people may say, well, I use WhatsApp, I use Facebook Marketplace, I send out my ads on Facebook. That should be enough.
Don't you see my TikToks?
Sometimes that may not be enough.
Oh.
Understanding why, again, our S.E.T series,
Right.
why you're doing it and the purpose of what you're trying to achieve through your digital skills, whether that's marketing, e-commerce, anything else of the sort, we want to prepare you for that. So our next digital skills series session that was started yesterday is about e-commerce. So you want to know how to best market your items, best pricing, understanding the costs associated with e-commerce as well. So every Monday and Wednesday, 6 to 9 p.m., we're going to have digital skills training sessions. So these are all virtual. You can do them between, again, hours of 6 to 9, but be sure to sign up. That's the most important part.
Mm-hmm.
So these series, they run occasionally. The next one, of course, is e-commerce. That's happening now, and the next will be accounting. So if there's something or one of the digital skills training series that you want to sit in and get some information on, you may not need to take everything in for all, but find that one that you want to get onto. Look out on our social media platforms, reach out to our customer service team, and figure out when those dates are, and make sure you sign up for those.
From what you're seeing, have we grasped, do we understand e-commerce here? Are some people doing it better than others?
I think it's growing, especially since the pandemic. We've seen a big shift from actual in-person business happening. A lot of things are happening e-commerce-wise. So there's a lot to learn because the industry continues to grow. It continues to change. So you always want to be on top of the latest skills, the latest technology that you can use to maximize and leverage.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know. Even some of the big stores are missing the mark on e-commerce here.
Well, that's why we offer the services
There you
today.
Yeah.
So what do you have to do to be a part of it? Is there a fee? Is there
No fee associated. All of these sessions are free. Just
Wow.
simply go into our website, accessaccelerator.org, and you can find out.
Do you ever see any of the big guys in there? Do they? Or do they're too...
They don't send their people?
Well, we never know. We really don't pry into privacy
okay.
things,
Got
but
it.
we encourage everybody to sign
Yeah,
up.
yeah. So why do you say that, Chester? What are you thinking that you're seeing out there that people are like, no, this is not quite right?
Well, I tried to buy something on someone's website recently, and the the product was not in stock.
Mm-hmm.
So
But it claimed
my
it
payment
on the
went
site.
through.
Oh.
And I guess everything went according to plan, and then afterwards I got an email saying we don't have the item, or we canceled your order, and then it wasn't in stock. So like, why is it on the website?
Right. So that's one of those growing pains that we address in our session. So one of those is challenges that arises when you're doing e-commerce. So things like that, where you're not managing your inventory virtually.
Right.
So we want to make sure that you get all those skills from our session that's going on right now on e-commerce.
See, that's a very important one.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes even the big international players have those issues once in a while, but you don't have to fall into those pits, right? Yeah. All right. What's been the reaction so far?
So far, we've been getting a lot of good feedback. Our first 2 sessions have been quite full, and this one, I believe, is quite full as well. So you really got to keep an eye out for it. Get those early signups. When we put our things on Facebook, Instagram, wherever it may be, we want you guys to sign up. Don't say, well, I'm going to do it next week, or I'm going to try for the last week to see if everything's open. There are a lot of people that have their eyes on Access Accelerator, so you want to make sure that you're the first whenever we have any offerings.
So you all have a session on procrastination too? That's a rough one.
Oh, man. Through our S.E.T series, based on the different things that we go through, you never know, it may be addressed.
Yeah.
Wow. And again, how many can you accommodate?
Virtually for digital skills training, the capacity I can't say, but we do put notifications out there when we're almost at capacity and when we're full. So like I say, it's always important to get that early insight. Even if you begin an application, you can always save your progress and come back to it.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. So this is for you, Chester. This text, someone says, yeah, this happened to me with eBay. I got messed up like 5 times this year. 5 times. Well, it's a little bit different with eBay, though, because you're dealing with well, although you're still
party, sometimes
right.
people,
So, but yeah, if they've taken these courses, they might be able to handle it much better. Yeah. All right. So, what other advice would you give to people out there who are thinking about taking the plunge? They are, I've had this idea for this business for all these years. It is my time now. Prices are getting higher. I need to supplement my income. This is it. What do they need to be doing? You talked about that business plan already.
I would say do it. But do it soberly, because entrepreneurship is definitely not for everyone. This was actually one of the questions that came up last night, whether entrepreneurship generally is for everybody.
Why is it not for everybody?
Because there are some days, there are up days. There are fantastic moments when you're flying high and everything is working the way that it's supposed to. And then there are days when things aren't quite going right. There may be weeks where things don't quite go right. There are challenges upon challenges that you face. And if you're not the kind of person that can function in a little bit of chaos, entrepreneurship may not necessarily be for you. But definitely, if you have the passion, if you have the drive, if there is a problem in the market that you realize that you think you have an answer to, it's worth exploring. And the thing of it is, you're not a failure until you give up. So I think that is the true pioneering spirit that entrepreneurs possess, that they never give up. They always find a way.
Yeah. We've seen it. People will do things on the side, and their friends will tell them, oh, you're amazing. You need to do this. You need to go into business for this. And they are gassed up, essentially, by their friends. How risky is that? How dangerous is that to think that because your circle is a big fan of this,
I'll say that support is crucial to continuing on, but an important thing is to look at yourself as an entrepreneur, like Kenron had mentioned. A question that oftentimes we see when we have sessions with the public is, when do you know when to pivot and when do you know when to stop?
Wow.
That really varies on a case-by-case basis. So I'd say an important aspect of taking that entrepreneurship journey is doing your research. And when you do your research, even if it's in putting together your plan or maybe just writing down a few notes and tips about what you're going to do over a period of time, you really want to know and understand at what point do I say I've done and I've used all the resources that I've had. When do I say I need to put this down, take a break, maybe regroup, maybe pivot my business idea. Maybe I'm doing things in person and it's costly. I need to go digital. I need to do some e-commerce stuff. So it's about having that plan and that structure. So the business plan is formally putting that out there. But even in the early stages, as you launch and as you continue to grow, because some people, they just dive into it. You want to start documenting what you're doing and do your research. Very, very important.
If I may add to that, I think the other thing is, like Alicia said, building in that resilience is something that you can build into the business from day one. So what we try to do when we help clients to build business plans or to build their ideas is actually look at, okay, this may be a core focus, but what are the other things that we can build around this same business or product or service that you can leverage to kind of help underpin the business? So you may be someone that has a storefront selling cakes, for example. is there a way that we can get you to put your cakes in somebody else's storefront? So trying to find those alternative means or methods of actually building this resilience into your business on day one.
As opposed to going it on your own.
Exactly.
Yeah, minimizing that risk there. Why aren't people thinking more like that? Is it distrust? Is it
Well, I wouldn't say that.
cutting out the middleman?
It may be the approach. So traditionally, especially here in the Bahamas, most people, they want a storefront. They want to fill their store with items. They want to have people coming through the door. There's so much that goes into that. So there's that inventory that you have to manage. You have to pay your staff. You have to manage your overhead costs. That may not be the right business model for you as an entrepreneur. Like Kenron mentioned, you may be producing these goods and you may have them in another person's store. We see a lot of that with candle businesses here in the Bahamas. They may not necessarily have a storefront, but they may maximize from different fairs, different partnerships with other larger brands and larger stores. So you have to find a way to do what you want to do in a sensible and practical way. I think that's important. So you can't always just dive into it with a storefront, all these other logistics you have to manage. This important thing is scaling. So you really have to scale your business.
It's interesting that people still want storefronts. I think, I feel like, I don't know if it's just me. Clearly it is because people want storefronts. But I feel like e-commerce is like the way to go. Like I could be at home managing my inventory and find some driver company that will deliver these things, especially on a small island, to whomever buys it, right?
Right. So that works in some capacity, but I think the important thing is understanding your market. So that's a part of doing that research. In the Bahamas, we have a lot of people who aren't necessarily so tech savvy. So with our digital skills training, we provide them with some of that information and that insight. You have some people who are very traditional. They want to go into a store, see and feel a product before they spend their money. So you have to find a way to meet all of these different needs. So like we mentioned, that could be a little bit of e-commerce as well as having that in someone else's store, even incorporating some delivery when you can. So again, finding that niche for your business, the way you need to operate, and being very, very scalable.
I'm still floored that people still want to carry cash. That's just me.
We're getting a few text messages. You can send those, folks, 422-4796, or tweet us at WarningBlend969, or text us 422-4796. I think I just said that one, didn't I? Yeah. Okay. So somebody's here asking, is it about networking with other stores? Is that a challenge? I'm not sure if I understand the question too much, but maybe you will do.
I would say that it isn't. I think as much as people think that it is, because just in with my team and the work that we do, we have seen that there are a lot of big brand stores here that are willing to hold product, sell product on behalf of smaller companies. So it's about networking, yes, but it's also about the entrepreneur or the producer, the product, the service producer actually going out and seeking alternative distribution methods for their business.
But that's the other benefit of A2, right? Because you guys kind of connect people and businesses, especially businesses that you funded, to help them get those things done.
Right. So for example, we have a client that was funded, I believe, sometime around the end of last year, and they have a major distribution deal with an international company. So they bring in the goods, but this client does not have a storefront. They have their products in all of the major stores here. So that's the way they set up their business model, running very successfully even prior to joining us and getting their funding. But they have maintained always being available in other stores. They don't have a storefront.
Right. So, I mean, you said it. So that you all will help people, because some people can't communicate or are shy or won't be able to sell their product well. So they will need some assistance.
Yes. So I'll kind of jump in there with one of the things that we've been working on. It's an internal project that we've been working on, led by our head of post-funding, and it's creating an ecosystem. So for clients that have been funded already. So, for example, if there's a food and beverage business that needs paper products, if we have a company that sells or creates paper products, then those two clients are connected, and you purchase your paper products from this particular company. In the same way, if there is a service that another company that's in the ecosystem actually can use or can benefit from, we make the connection between those two businesses.
That's wonderful. So are people able to see that list, or is that made public?
Well, usually we try to do, whenever we have any public engagement, we try to broadcast our clients. So for example, at our S.E.T series last night, we had some of our clients in-house providing products to those who attended in person. And as the series continues, we want to continue to have our clients out there like that. So whether it's a showcase, whether it's some public session that we may have. We always try to push our clients out there. And you can see those synergy projects as you review our S.E.T series.
Wonderful. All right. So, okay, we're running out of time. Someone was asking all the contacts. Can we get contacts for everybody, please?
Sure. For Access Accelerator, I know it's fading away, but we want you guys to be engaged as much as possible. So on the phone line, very easy, 461-SBDC. We want you guys to give us a call. We do have WhatsApp available as well, 359-0626 or 359-2394. And we also have an email help desk where you can send an email, put in a ticket. That is helpdesk@sbdcbahamas.com. We're also available on all the major platforms, social media, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn.
Okay, and that's everything right there. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking with you this morning, Alicia Murphy and Kenron Brainin. Thank you. As always, this series is wonderful, talking with you all twice a month from A Squared SBDC, and we look forward to later in the month. Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break and then be back to wrap things up. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
At Western Union, we have different sending options for you to use the one that fits you best. You can send money directly to bank accounts around the world, or for cash pickup by visiting our agent locations. Or you can also start your money transfer in our app and then pay cash in store. Look for an agent location near you, or download our app and send money to your loved ones abroad.
The Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center is here to help small businesses throughout the entire Bahamas. To better serve you, we've made it easier to contact us. Call 461-7232, WhatsApp 359-0626 or 359-2394, email helpdesk@sbdcbahamas.com, or submit a ticket when you visit our help center at accessaccelerator.org. The Access Accelerator, empowering small business. Ready to save? You can put $100 into the C-File Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at C-File, your interest is our interest. Visit cfile.com to start now. C-File, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The sun comes up with a burning glow, shines down on paradise below. Talking about the Bahamas, you know, our beautiful archipelago.
That is it for us on this Wednesday. It feels like Thursday because yesterday felt like, I don't know what that is. Or does it feel like Tuesday to some people?
It feels like Wednesday to me.
Does it really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a little off because of the holiday. But hey, it's Wednesday. Only a couple more days before the weekend. Yeah. So thank you very much, Chester Robards, for
Always
being
a
here
pleasure.
this morning. And I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, have a great day. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.
Onward, upward together, boasting our rich culture, inspiring our young and old. With perseverance, we could win gold. Then lift up your heads to the rising sun. Our heroes left us a race to run. Let's protect our sovereignty, yes, together in harmony. Then say, I'm proud to be a Bahamian. Oh, I'm proud to be a Bahamian.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.